Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Gyle here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. Tuesday afternoon, no cast yesterday. Apologies for that. I hope you all made it through Monday. Nothing terrible happened at the office. No one got shot or fired or shot. I meant to say fired. That would be certainly an exciting day at work. But no one got fired or sexually harassed or generally anything. I'm making work sound much more exciting than it actually is. But you know what I mean. You made it through. You're here. That's the important thing. I don't have any important stuff to bring you today. No news or information about the community. So we can roll straight out with the action. It's going to be a top level, well, not quite a top level, a pro level ladder map today, or a ladder replay for you guys. And it's all going to go down on Via 3 Protectorate. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. So, all pretty familiar with Via 3 Protectorate by now. Let's take a look at the players and their starting locations. Up here at the top right, in the red corner, it's none other than Lextoc. And he's going a UEF opening first land, second air. And his opponent down here in the blue corner. There are other players that play Sopcom. It's not just the only guy here, but I actually checked through my video manager, and I've casted this guy 3 ladder maps in like the last 3 weeks. Someone said on the previous video he is the new Mad Mozart. Yeah, well, I don't know what happened. Mad Mozart just stopped playing and started hosting tourneys instead. Yama Dharma has been playing a lot by contrast, and a lot of his replays are very good. But anyway, he's opening first and second land, and he's going Cybrin. So it's a classic UEF versus Cybrin, good versus evil matchup. I'll leave it up to you to decide who's who. We all know who it is, really, but feel free to flame in the comment section below. Anyway, slightly different opening builds here. Lextoc seems for the moment to be quite passive, quite expansionist. Nothing but engineers coming out of his land factory to begin with. But we've got a couple of hunters coming out from Yama Dharma. A little bit of early aggression coming out from him. Labs making their way in around the edges of the map, nestling in here, going to wait for some engineers. And there just so happens to be one coming this way as we speak. I expect a confluence of destruction right about here any moment now. Yama Dharma, his plan seems to have worked. We have got a striker inbound. Question is, will it be in time to save that engineer? I suspect not, as long as Yama Dharma is paying attention, which he is. Rolls right on through, nearly misses out. Striker comes in and finishes off the lab, but too little too late. Meanwhile, down here, Lextoc's going to lose another engineer as well, and to Snoop by sending that in first. Little bit of an error there, and a striker comes in and lose it. This is les incompetents, this section at the moment. Poor old Lextoc, not cool, man, not enjoying the early lab play. Yama Dharma definitely making those early labs pay. He's going to bring that last one in there and start beating away at the, sounds a bit dodgy, that beating away at the mass pump. Bomber hanging around meanwhile is able to pick that off. No trouble whatsoever, and we are back to normal play. Lab phase over, and you can see here that 110 ranking points being given up here by Lextoc to Yama Dharma. So you've got to expect it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle for our UEF friend. Nonetheless, this is of course Forged Alliance. Anything can happen, unless of course you're giving up serious ranking points, and then well, you're just going to lose basically. But I've seen Lextoc play a number of times. He's certainly a guy who knows what he's doing. Let's take a look at what's happening. Meanwhile, down here we've got Yama Dharma's ACU on the move, moving out east, and Lextoc has not moved anywhere. Where has your ACU gone? There he is. He's moved south. I couldn't see him. He was off screen. Naughty Lextoc. Anyway, he's moved south. He's going to throw down a land factory on the edge here. Let's take a look at what's going on eco-wise. Yama Dharma actually ahead slightly, despite the production of those early labs. Obviously picking up those engineer kills, helping him in the long run, but it's not a great deal to pick between these two. Lextoc jumping in front there for a moment as well. Let's take a look at reclaim, at least early reclaim. 5,700 banked for Yama Dharma. That's up against 2,000 for Lextoc. So Yama Dharma taking an early lead there as well. But it really is all to play for in the eco game, jumping backwards and forwards in terms of position, these two players. And decent commitment to the early air game as well. Interceptors out for both players, and bombers and scout planes as well. Let's take a look at who's actually done better on the scouting side of things. So we've had no real intel gleaned so far for Yama Dharma. Lextoc's done a couple of passes, knows exactly where Yama Dharma's has expanded to, but to be fair, that is the standard expansive route. You wouldn't expect him to be deployed anywhere else, not at least in the first 8 minutes of this one. We've now got Medusas rolling out for Yama Dharma, coming towards the center, of course, picking off those early static emplacements, allowing you to get in there and pick up those mexes is an important step on Via 3 Protectorate. Lots of mass to be gained in terms of civilian facilities for their reclaim. Of course, the mass points as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 mass points in that central section. Definitely not something you want to gift away to your opponent. Lobo's coming forward as well for Lextoc. Fancy's getting his hands on it, but it seems to be a little bit more commitment to the center for Yama Dharma. He's got a lot of Mantis in tow coming in with those Medusas. And now a merger of units up in the top left-hand corner. The Mantis seem to have the advantage, at least initially. There are a lot of strikers in the background, though. However, Yama Dharma going to pull out of there before he can get engaged. Both of these guys going to pull back. Yama Dharma successful in halting the expansion into the top left-hand corner. Meanwhile, down in the bottom right-hand corner, Lextoc bombarding poor helpless engineers with one single solitary bomber, while he's got an energy of his own running around capping the points in there. Yama Dharma's not going to let that go unpunished. He's going to dispatch a few units to that location, as well as overrunning the center. Lextoc very light on the commitment in the center. That could be problematic. You'd already see engineers in the center working on those wrecks. Definitely not a player you want to allow to get free reclaim. This is not looking great for Lextoc. Yama Dharma continues to press up the center, grabbing a lot of build capacity kills on the way. Lextoc bringing in some strikers to try and halt this push. Down goes a mass point as well. Another one to the north under threat. Lextoc should be able to keep it alive, although he's running low on units himself. Modest advantage on hit points, of course, the striker versus the Mantis. Lextoc starting a T2 upgrade on his comm, thanks to that helpful little mod there that Lextoc's got running. I'm not sure if that's actually integrated in FAF yet, or whether... obviously Gaz UI has now been integrated, but all these mods have been integrated. It's not a bad little one to have, certainly when you're playing team games. It makes all the difference. That RAS upgrade, incredibly important. Upper build capacity just chilling out around the edge of this hill. They're not going to fare too well at all. But look at the progress that Yama Dharma's making. Bottom right is all but overrun. One more mass point left to destroy. Should be sitting in control, though. Lextoc looks to be dispatching more units to deal with that as we speak. We have got T2 tech on the field for Lextoc. We've also got T2 tech down here for Yama Dharma. 12.5 minutes gone. These two players matching each other stroke for stroke, at least at the moment. Quite a few pillars actually joining the front lines up here at the top for Lextoc. Wants to be careful. Definitely doesn't want to throw away these units attacking this position. Not when there's a group of T1 around the back threatening to get in amongst the structures of his forward base. At least that is the position for his commander. It's busy building some TMD in there at the moment. Into that time where you don't want to suddenly start facing attack missile barrage and not be prepared for it. These two players posturing at the moment, focusing on Eco and Yama Dharma focusing ever so slightly better, though, of course, in possession of a little bit more territory, at least for the moment. However, that might be about to change. This forward group of units down in the bottom right-hand corner getting overwhelmed now. There are reinforcements coming in with a lot of hoplites in the mix. The question is, will he be able to save those mexes? One down already, but in the top left, Lextoc forcing his way back onto that position. So it's incredibly back and forth, this game so far. In the first 15 minutes, both corners fought over once and changed hands once. Now the hoplites come in. 4 more pillars in that pack for Lextoc. Doesn't feel like hanging about. Yama Dharma's going to pursue because he can. The Vipers in there as well. But ultimately, Yama Dharma's still in control of the center, of course. But it's not gaining him any great advantage on Eco. What is the core mass at? That's the question. Got a T3, a few T3s in there, in fact. 3 T3s and 1 T2. That T2 providing adjacency bonus to 3 of those factories. Stock running 2 T3 at the moment out of those core mexes. Relatively even power generation from these two. A lot of static D in place down here for Lextoc, so he's got to be concentrating and microing this forward army. Doesn't want to lose this position and open the door to his main base for Yama Dharma. In go the pillars at first. Yama Dharma going to back up. Taking quite a lot of casualties as he goes. Literally is like the Battle of the Somme, only without the river. I suppose these were probably rivers at one point. Battle of the Somme, or New Somme on Mars. But neither player in the first 20 odd minutes here really gaining any concrete territory at all. Lextoc actually ahead en masse. Score not a great indicator always of actual progress in the match, but Yama Dharma nonetheless significantly ahead. 50,000 reclaim banked for Yama Dharma to 36 of Lextoc, so that's definitely offers a different perspective on the eco in this one. But that's a lot of hoplites and rhinos queuing up front. We have got T3 on the field. You can see a Percival there for Lextoc. Very land-centric game, this one so far. Air only playing a minor role. The hoplites fire a volley. Lextoc gonna be feeling the pressure on this one. Needs to bring in more reinforcements. I can't see if there are any on the way from this position. But that forward base taking a battering. One T2 mech's out of commission, the other out of commission now as well. evens things in the mass game. Yama in control of both corners and the center. 21 minutes gone. Definitely not a great position to be in. Our UEF player. Hoplites, instead of sticking around to harass this position, move on to alternate pastures. Lots of build capacity, though, dying for Lextoc. That build capacity hurriedly assigned the task of throwing together some T1 PD. But the range not close enough to finish off the hoplites. Thankfully for him, he's got enough units on hand to do that. I wonder if he could have got in here and maybe even taken down that T3 factory. I'm wondering if that wasn't a small error in target selection there from Yama. Already 3 or 4 Perseus have come out of that thing, but in come the Strat Bombers from Yama, so he's made the transition to T3 Air, as has Lextoc. This game progressing very quickly now indeed. Yama-Dama's interceptors might just hand him the advantage in this battle. However, they don't want to hang about. We've got skyboxers arriving on the scene, and they really do tear through interceptors. And Lextoc working on power, and a Fatboy jumps into the yellow there, 25% complete. What's going on over here on Yama-Dama's side of things? Well, we've also got T3 power on the way. No experimentals, but I can see, at least not in the main base. That doesn't mean they're not under construction somewhere else. But Lextoc's operational area definitely decreasing, at least for the moment. We have got T3 land tech research there for Yama, or upgraded I should say. Research. It's 8 Supreme Commander 2. But this doesn't look good. Lextoc hurriedly trying to work on some Ravagers. I humbly suggest that Triads might be a better option. But down goes that T3 power gen he was working on. Build capacity in a dangerous position. Down goes the T3 mechs, and now you really start to see Yama pulling away on eco, 275 to 221. That Ravager is allowed to complete. One plus side of it, of course, in fact 2 of them online now. One plus side of it is that it'll be able to sting at greater range. But Lextoc has lost basically a T3 power gen, a factory upgraded, and 3 T2 mexes at this base. The Fatboy he's managed to keep alive, and that is nearly complete. Yama got a little run-by going on with this group of hoplites and rhinos and vipers, but they're gonna fall foul to some stingers. Gunship pressure from Lextoc. Yama not in the area with his air units to deal with, overcome the inties. They're gonna fly over a whole bunch of skyboxers. Turn up at the scene just in time to see their comrades on the ground die out. They will be able to pick off a few stingers. Yama not concerned at all about the remnants of his old T1 Air Force. Happy to discard that for a few gunship kills. But that Fatboy is complete, and Yama-Dama's army just eating that mobile artillery fire coming off that Fatboy. realizes what's going on. He turns tail and runs. Cyberin's favorite maneuver. So horrible about them. And once again, a lull of activity ensues, but Yama still in control of the two corners, still in control of the middle. Surprisingly, no engineers in the area alive to pick up those 3 unclaimed mexes. But 307 mass to 210. Yama running away with things now on the eco side of things. 60,000 mass banked, but Lextoc has overtaken him. The combat featuring largely on his side of the map. What was it? 71 going on 72,000 for Lextoc. Reclaim just about keeping him in this, along with the emergence of T3 ground tech. Got to feel like Yama needs to commit more to the T3 ground game. There's a lot of Percivals on the field now. Lots of strap bombers emerging as well. Let's take a look at who's actually doing better on the ASF side of things. So 22 ASFs for Lextoc and 29 for Yama. So Yama Air Force was that little bit stronger. We've also got a few ambassadors though, UEF strap bombers emerging for Lextoc. So both equally intrigued by the opportunities strap bomb is going to open up for him. That Fatboy moving forward as well for Lextoc, hopefully not unsupported. It's going to be a choice target for those revenants. The further it gets from home, of the Percivals just backing up, lapping away, one-shotting units as they go. Epic amounts of Alpha Strike, and that Fatboy actually moving north and putting some fire on that northern army of Yamadamas. Again, Yama having to back up. This is extraordinary play from Lextoc. Looked like this game was going only one way, and it still might, to be fair. He's trailing quite a lot on the eco side of things, but I'm not seeing much being built with that advantage. However, of course, the moment I say it, the experimental production emerges. Halfway done on that Soul Ripper Yama. And as long as he can maintain a healthy ASF advantage, should be able to put that to good use. Another lull in activity emerges. And Lextoc's been able to nullify mass production up here in the top left-hand corner. Would love to take it back again, but doesn't want to be moving these Percivals away from guard duty, potentially opening the door to a counter push from Yama. Of course, this position gets broken. There's significant units left on the ground. So easy for Yama to stroll back in towards Lextoc's base. New Stingers harassing this group of bricks down here. They quickly get taken out though. Yamada's ASF's on standby and now circling the area down there. Let's take a look again at ASF's numbers, or ASF numbers. 42 for Lextoc and 39 for Yama. Lextoc overtaking our Cybrin player in terms of air power. Another push coming forward now for Yama Dharma. There's so many Percivals up here at the front. Shield gen about to go up. We've got Ravagers queued up as well. Overkill there by the Percivals, though. That first volley going pretty much all down on one unit. Ambassadors come in over the top, adding in some AoE goodness into the mix. Nothing much else happening anywhere else. We can zoom in on this battle. Flak firing up at those Ambassadors. Shield gen depleted. Yama Dharma brings in his ASFs around the edge. Could we get a full-on air fight over the top of all of that flak? And of course these SAMs belonging to Lextoc. Minor clash there, but not a full-on engagement. Now we've got the odd Revenant coming in, harassing that shield coverage as well. That gets taken out quickly though. And one Ravager completed. Still a few Percys in the mix, but a large volley of Strat bombers. Oh, Strat bombs coming over the top. That base has been pummeled, but I think that definitely opens up the door for Lextoc. Yama Dharma suffered heavily that attack. The entire northern army annihilated, to quote Edward Longshanks. That Soul Ripper, though, now online. Lextoc will have seen that. Spy planes doing exactly what they say on the tin, revealing all important information. That Fatboy still alive, at full health, at full shields, with 75 kills to its name. Now moving forward and harassing the bricks. Yama Dharma still with a 50-odd point mass lead. And still seemingly unable to do anything with it. Victory for both these players proving about as elusive as a Malaysian airline. Too soon. But Yama Dharma changing things up slightly with his unit composition. Got the odd trebuchet now in the mix. That Fatboy has to be concerning Yama Dharma, though. Wave of spy planes coming in for Lextoc. If you didn't see that Soul Ripper before, he definitely would have by now. Both these players now looking to counterpunch, neither one wanting to make the first move. Lextoc, I think, with the opportunity to do so, though, with this Fatboy. Moving it a little bit further forward. He knows this is a large asset that he's got on the field. Can't blame him for being tentative with its use. It's certainly refreshing to see someone doing that instead of charging forward and losing it recklessly. Dharma thinking about chasing it down, or trying to. He has got a few forces around the edge, but it's mostly junk. One brick in there. And with 40 minutes gone in this game, if it's not T3 or situationally occasionally T2, it really is junk. Yama Dharma still with that advantage on mass, and producing a second Soul Ripper with it. You start getting multiples of experimental gunships, nasty things can happen. for your opponent. Air control going to be vital, though, for Yama to make the most of that investment. Forward comes the Fatboy, meanwhile, and those pitiful, unupgraded Cyber and Shield generators crumble in the wake of all of that damage. Yama still trying to get a solution on it. Brings forward bricks from the front and also a few from the side up here as well. Lextoc hit to the danger, though. It's going to back up once again. And now in come the Air Force, stealth engaged. To go after that Fatboy. Those Revenants seem to drop short, in fact. That might have been a misclick. I'm wondering if what his intel is like. Well, it's impossible to tell now with all of that aircraft over the top. In come ASS from Lextoc, and the merger of air forces are complete. Both players try to get in behind their opponent's aircraft and dish out the most damage. It's tough to say, but I think that might have gone ever so slightly better for Lextoc. Yes, indeed it has. Yama unable to get that Soul Ripper in there. You could see what he was planning. If he couldn't get it done with the ground units, he wanted to get that Soul Ripper in and finish off that Fatboy. But alas, I think he's lost more units in that than Lextoc has. I can't remember the last time I saw a Fatboy control an area of the map so completely. UVF players love to moan about the Fatboy and that it's too easy to kill. Well, I humbly suggest you're not using it correctly. Lextoc here, we can see using it correctly, and another one, of course, emerging up here at the top, adding to the issues for Yama. Just doesn't seem to be able to compete with Lextoc on the ground at the moment. And with that last engagement in the air going so badly over the top of all of those skyboxes, Dharma and his main investment, these Soul Rippers that he's throwing eco into at the moment, unable to use his weapons. A few Corsairs coming in over the top as well. Dharma now 80 something mass ahead. How are we looking on reclaim? 70 odd thousand for Yama. Lextoc 120,000. Well, that explains a lot about why this game has gone the way it has so far. Yama has allowed Lextoc to get an awful lot of mass in reclaim, going a long way to mitigate the disadvantage Lextoc has found him in terms of general map control. And now assaulted on two fronts by two Fatboys. All Yama must want to do is get that Soul Ripper in there and kill at least one of those Fatboys, but he knows if he does that, he's probably going to lose that Soul Ripper immediately. Let's take another look at aircraft numbers. 50 ASFs on the field for Lextoc, another 14 out of fuel. Yama comparatively also at 50, so Air Force-wise, it's relatively even, at least at the moment. 45 minutes gone in this one. And we're still no closer to seeing who might emerge victorious out of this one. Can't believe how well Lextoc has Yama Dharma pinned down. And although he's actually stronger on the ground in terms of Percival's down here, he doesn't have to use them. The Percivals just remain a nice barrier against potential brick incursion on the Fatboy, and then he can just use the Fatboys to pummel these forward bases. But that second Soul Ripper is complete. Joins the first up there at the front. Lextoc needs to be severely careful now that he doesn't lose a decisive air battle, or all of the hard work that he's put himself through will be for naught. Those Fatboys could be gone in an instant. There's a lot of skyboxes though on the ground. It makes that air battle a tricky thing to start for Yama Dharma. Got to get the positioning exactly right. What have we got down here? A third one on the way. That's absolutely unreal. We've got strategic missile defense in place for Yama Dharma. Actually got a couple of mass fabs going up there for Lextoc. That's one way to try and catch up on a mass deficit, but forward come the Percivals, and we be about to see the final demise of this forward base. Another strategic missile defense up there at the front. Wondering if Lextoc has seen something I haven't, but forward come the Soul Rippers under cover of that ASF screen. Lextoc's ASF's way back here. Has he left them out too far? There are a few skyboxes in the mix down here, but not enough to save the Fatboy if Yama Dharma really commits. In come Lextoc's ASF's one pass virtually eradicates all of the hit points on that first Soul Ripper. The second one now under fire as well, but Lextoc not going to stick around for the engagement. But that is all he needs. He's managed to keep the Fatboy alive, at least for the moment. Don't take your ASFs too far away, Lextoc. You're going to need them on hand. That Soul Ripper has turned around. And what a game of cat and mouse we've got here. Now Lextoc going after Yama Dharma's ASFs, who split. And Soul Ripper's able to escape. It's lost about 25% of its hit points, maybe a little more. That Fatboy and its shield taking a little bit of damage, but armor still intact. And I hesitate to say it, but I think that air battle went better for Lextoc again. 45 fully fueled up ASFs operational for Lextoc. 47 though for Yama Dharma. So very little in it. But importantly, that Fatboy still online. One Soul Ripper destroyed. Old T1 bombers coming in now for Yama Dharma. Of little use really, so why not just throw them in there? But despite all the success that Lextoc has had in this section in the center, he still hasn't made any grounds at gaining territory on the corners. Yama Dharma has a decent little station down here. He's lost one mechs, but the others are operational, and they're all at T2 as well. But the mexes that have been lost down here might have gone some way to alter the fortunes, but in come the Soul Rippers once again. They're gonna be able to pick up the Fatboy this time, surely. Lextoc gonna pick off one of the Soul Rippers. That Fatboy is still alive somehow. Oh, I don't believe it. Kill the Fatboy, Yama Dharma. Kill the Fatboy. There it goes, but it's cost him both of those Soul Rippers. So much flak on the ground from Lextoc. And there's actually very little on the ground at all for Yama Dharma. And Yama Dharma actually finds himself behind in the mass game after this latest incursion by Lextoc. Small group of bricks just eating it, but you can see how many compatriots they've lost. Fatboy happy to sit under the cover of shield and just blast away. Another round of spy planes incoming for Lextoc, but look at this march of the Percivals. Isn't that a beautiful sight? Onwards they go. And Yama Dharma with a wide open eastern flank. We've got another Soul Ripper on the way and a Crab. The question is, will they be completed in time? A whole bunch of build capacity in dire straits up front here as these Percivals enter the base. We have got some bricks coming in from the north, but they're not going to last too long, I don't think. Not under that much sustained Percival fire. Those Alpha Strikes taking them out incredibly quickly. There is a small group of bricks waiting further back here as well. Lextoc seems determined to continue to press though, but look at this. Ground being made up here at the top. And another Fatboy coming in here from the east as well. Lextoc can probably afford to throw away all of these units and just cause as much hassle for Yama Dharma as possible. Fatboy coming in from the east. It's going to be tough to deal with. And down goes the shield coverage of the power generators. And a chain reaction there is going to really hurt Yama Dharma. His comm is just over here to the left. Down goes the power. Megalith was pretty close to completion as well, but it's all over. Yama Dharma quits out a moment before his commander goes up in flames, and Lextoc pulls out the victory for the UEF forces. There you go. People said to me the other day, stop showing games where UEF loses. I'm being a traitor. Well, there's one where the noble UEF win. And not only that, there's one where Lextoc defeats Yama Dharma, giving up 100 ranking points on the ladder. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. There's always more to come from me in the future. In the meantime, stay well and stay safe. This is Gyle, signing out.